Hello, I'm Nolan-North, voice of Nathan, not the voice, I want to say that. Take two. Hey everybody, it's Nolan-North, Nathan Drake from the Uncharted collection, and you're watching Game Block. No! Oh, crap. See? It's really me.
Nate, these guys are playing for keeps.
Yeah, so?
You would go to the ends of the earth for me, Nate.
Now what do we do? We jump?
Just don't ask me to.
Shall we?
The first audition I ever had, I didn't know it was going to be a performance capture game. And in a typical video game, you go into a booth, with an engineer behind the glass, and you sit alone and you read off of the paper. So I went in completely unprepared, because when I got there, everybody was in the booth with me and said, "Oh, yeah, you can use the space," and there wasn't much space. And I remember just laughing about it and just laughing my way through it and doing my best and thinking, well, that's never going to happen. But amazingly, I was invited back for a second audition called a callback, and that was a much bigger space, and I was invited to run around and do whatever I wanted. And there was one part of the audition scene where I had to run and slide behind a rock and have the gun up, and I ran, I did this slide, and I went past the chair, and I think it was in that audition. I was like, crap. And I just kind of crawled back behind, and I just pretended like I had slid too far, because I actually had. So rather than make it look like, oh, I made a mistake, but that's something exactly what Nathan Drake would do. And at the time I didn't know it, but that was something that kind of endeared me to them to get the role, I guess, because that's what Nathan Drake is. He's somebody with faults. He's not the guy who's the smooth character who does it right the first time. And he makes mistakes, and when he punches someone it hurts, and when he falls it hurts, and he does the best he can, and that's kind of like me. So it worked out. Nobody ever could have imagined the success we had. I often remind people there's no such thing as Uncharted 1. There was Drake's Fortune. People liked it enough to where they said, yeah, let's do it Uncharted 2. So, and then obviously people loved that to the point where we did Uncharted 3, and now here we are doing Uncharted 4. So, the most rewarding and gratifying thing is it's not just my voice. It's a full performance. It's the performance capture. It's Nathan Drake's sense of humor and a lot of his personality is my own. And, it was the first time I was ever invited to be the lead character of any kind of franchise, and to put so much of myself into that franchise, and to see that people love what we did and what we were able to create over the last 10 years is it's really gratifying. Without a doubt, I infused as much of my sense of humor as I could in Nathan Drake. I mean, some of those situations I'd often think about, well, how would I handle it? If there was ever a situation in my life where, having trouble with someone, if you're being bullied or pushed around, let's diffuse it with a little humor. Uncomfortable situations, that's usually, how do they say, like my defense mechanism, so to speak. And it usually gets me out of more trouble than it causes. One thing that I've, in retrospect, when I look back at, and I meet people and we talk about these three in particular, the one thing that I think is very interesting trait between the two of us is Nathan Drake has almost an addiction to his adventures. As much as, in the middle of it, just go home, leave it alone. He has to keep moving. He has to keep looking, bettering himself and trying to get to that next goal. And in the same way, I think I'm the same way with my career as an actor. I crave adventure. I don't necessarily need the security of here's the job and this is going to pay you this amount of money and that's that. If somebody gave me a desk job and gave me a lot of money, I couldn't do it for that. I like the adventure of the next role, the next look. Oh, we're going to shoot a movie in Scotland. That's an adventure. We're going to do a motion capture for this video game. That's an adventure. Here's a character who's kind of dark and mysterious. That's cool. So always trying to keep myself interested in the different things that I do and that I've been offered or I auditioned for. That's what kind of feeds me, is that I have that addiction to that adventure as an actor, to like find that next really interesting thing. And I think it's a constant search for that. Like Drake is always searching for that lost treasure. I'm looking for that treasure of that next interesting job that kind of feeds my soul. Well, I dislike the fact that he just never seems to come home with the treasure and blows up all these beautiful cities. But what I like most about him is, I think, his vulnerability as a character. I think that's what made him, what made people so emotionally invested to who he was. You can't help but root for him. Somebody said he's the guy the girls want to date and the guys want to have a beer with. But he's a flawed character. He's not, like I said, when he hits somebody, it hurts. When he falls, you feel that pain. And so he's very much the everyman. He's us. He's the guy who's always thrust into these situations, and is just doing his best to get out of them and just enjoy his life. And just like the rest of us. And I think that's one of the things that we can, we can really relate to him. And so the fact that he's so relatable is what I love. And what don't I like about him? I love him. I mean, he's changed my life, so I can't really pick something. $1,308. I don't know. No, there's been a lot of craps. There's a lot. No. It's the thing about those things. Those little things come out of like improv. The line. No, a lot of those lines might be, oh no, and instead I went, oh no. I think the oh crap came out of. I don't really remember exactly where that came out of, but it's just, I know it was rated T for teen, and sometimes, the word shit sometimes is a little too harsh, but, if it's a 12, 13-year-old playing, like crap is kind of, I let my kids say crap from the time they could speak. Might have been their first words. My kids have enjoyed it, especially my 15-year-old. My older son is very much into Uncharted, and the younger one is much more into FIFA, and Destiny is his game of choice right now when he is allowed to play. But yeah, Uncharted's been a big deal for my older son mostly, although they both have been. Let me start that again. Both of my kids have been Nathan Drake for Halloween. They've dressed up and had a lot of fun with that. Yeah, it's. The game is very important to our whole family. Like I said before, this role has changed my life. It was the best job I've ever had, and I've been very close to the creator and Naughty Dog and all the designers and everybody. So when my son gets to go to school, or either of my kids get to go to school wearing the latest Naughty Dog Uncharted T-shirt that you can't buy, all the kids want to know where they got it, and it's had repercussions throughout my entire family. My niece works with a bunch of doctors in Florida, and one of these, I think he's a brain surgeon, is a huge Uncharted fan. He's in his mid-40s, and he loves Uncharted. And, that's one of those things where you start going, wow, this game isn't just like something for kids. This game spans generations and different kind of boundaries. So it has had a great impact on everyone in the family. Oh, yeah. No, you know what? That's actually it's a funny story. What I said was completely taken out of context because despite the fact that I'm a prominent name in gaming, I'm not privy to the workings and the going-ons behind the scenes at the developer's office. Because technically, I'm just an independent contractor. I work for Naughty Dog on certain days and do Uncharted, and other days I'm somewhere else. So when somebody kind of just asked me that, and I just sort of said what I said, it was said with the idea that, well, I assume, like anybody else, a game that was that important
becomes I'm sure.
Yeah, but I didn't say that. You know, I didn't say I'm sure or I guess. But in my head, that's what I'm thinking. So when they ran with that and I saw all these articles and then I was like, oh no. Because I have no idea, and maybe I should say this, for the record, I have no idea what Naughty Dog is planning outside of Uncharted. I, like a gamer and like any other fan, said that kind of assuming because in my experience, and not as just as an actor, as a human being, reading, just staying up on the news, when a game makes a lot of money and is a huge hit, critically and financially, it tends to get sequels. But to this day, I don't know for sure if they will, because I don't work there. I don't even work at their buildings. So when people ran with that, nobody called me. I immediately called them to say I said this, but I didn't mean it, and I didn't mean it like that. And everyone at Naughty Dog was just laughed, and they said, just it'll blow over. It's no big deal. Well, no, I asked jokingly. I asked, and they just laughed and said, "Do you think we'd tell you, Big Mouth?" So it's. But I'm the last person you should ask if you want to know if your game's being made, because I don't know. I don't know if it's being made until they call me. Well, I said that, I wasn't interested in just being kind of just showing up and go, here's your drink, Mr. Drake, and just walking away. That just as like a gag. Just again, I want to play things that are interesting. I want to do some interesting roles and have some stuff like that. If there were a role in there where I played something with a little more importance, well, that's something. Because as an actor, you try to take jobs that will further your career, make you a little better. Maybe you learn something, and like a little thing like that would be kind of, if it was something with some substance and some time, then I'd be interested. But who knows if that'll ever get made. I've met with I knew the producer Ari Arad would come over and like see us on the mocap stage, but we never discussed the film. I'm not privy to the scripts and things like that. The funny thing is, most of my knowledge comes from what I read in the news anyway. And I know that it's gone through script iterations and different changes, and this director's on board and then he's not, and the most recent Seth Gordon left. So, and then I know with Hitman not doing so well, video game adaptations are difficult. They're hit or miss, and I don't know. I think when a fan base is so emotionally invested in a character in this way, I think it's very difficult to bridge that gap. And quickly, I'll tell you if you look at 50 Shades of Grey, the character of Christian Grey was, so many people read that book and had an emotional investment and a picture in their head, an emotional picture in their heart, so to speak, of who Christian Grey was to them. So when you cast an actor, you immediately are losing so many of your audience, because they're going to look at him and go, that's not what I was thinking, because it's emotional attachment to a character. But in Jason Bourne, people read that book, you don't care, you don't have an emotional investment, but you're looking forward to seeing all that action on the screen. So that's not the same emotional investment in a character. With an Uncharted movie, people have an emotional investment in that Drake that's up there, what he looks like, what he sounds like, because not only are they watching him, they are playing as him. So you become Nathan Drake when you play the game. There is an emotional attachment. And I don't know if you can bridge that emotional gap with a different actor in a live action role. I'm not trying to get a movie job or anything, but the only way I could see an Uncharted movie happening and working is if it was done like Tintin, and it was if it was done with Emily Rose and myself and Richard McGonigal, and we were digitally done, so he looks the same way he looks in the game. That's a possibility. I can see how that could work. But is it worth the investment? Will you sell enough tickets? That I don't know. So it's probably just, and then finally, so many people say that the Uncharted games are a cinematic experience anyway, that why would you need a movie? So it's difficult. Well, I got a chance to work with Chris Pine, who I really liked, and I thought he had like a really good quality that he could pull it off. Chris Pratt, of course, I thought would be great, but anybody who watches Guardians of the Galaxy, that's Drake in space. I mean, he pretty much nailed it. I did a recent web series called Con Man with Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk, and I got to work with Nathan, hang out with Nathan a little bit, and he could have pulled it off. But a lot of these guys, like Nathan, pulled it off for Uncharted. Now you really want someone who's like late 20s, and me, Nathan, probably can't pull that off. So you try to look younger. I don't know. I mean, it's very difficult to figure out who could do it. I remember Hugh Jackman was a guy who talked at one point, and it's, but it's hard. It's really hard. I'm sure there's so many that could do it, and it's an interesting question. I never really thought about it outside this era, but that's something I'd have to think about. Like you go back in time, and who could pull that off the best? Like who's got that? I certainly like like Jimmy Stewart was always kind of the everyman actor. He had that quality where you could get in a bad situation. So that'd be kind of funny to think about that. Like Jimmy Stewart in Uncharted back in the day. That could be kind of cool just to see how he would have handled it. Just yeah, Nathan Drake in It's a Wonderful Life. Clarence got his wings. Every time a bell rings, Angel gets its wings. No. Je suis désolé, je ne peux pas français. That's all I can speak. That, the merci and no. I would love to, and I actually own the Rosetta Stone. The first time, but I came for my 10-year wedding anniversary to Paris, and I wanted to be able to communicate some French, and I actually can pick it up pretty quickly. I think it's because I'm pretty good with accents and language. So I just take some time. I would need some time, which I would love to do. Love to do Rosetta Stone, do some lessons, and then maybe move to Paris or south of France for a while, and then just live in the culture and pick it up like that. Because they are in a French-speaking area, that they wanted some. Pardon, excusez-moi. As you're moving through the crowd and you bump it, merci. Merci. You'd say certain words because, again, it's because it's a French-speaking country. I think we're in like French Madagascar area in that trailer. I think I don't quite remember. But there's other places like I spoke as I hope I'm not giving away anything, but in Uncharted 4, there's this need. I think you spend a little time in Italy, and there's a couple of you have to say some things in Italian. So, but it's all part of the act that Sully and Drake are putting on. So, it's not really a. Well, we're not done yet. We're done with the performance capture cinematics, but there's still some performance capture for in-game cinematics that we do. Like the little parts where you have to press the triangle button to open something, and I'll go over and do that. And there's still some voiceover to record, but it's the Uncharted 4 may be the end, and it's bittersweet, but at the same time, it would be, if it is the end, at least we're going out on top. A lot of people really have, I remember some of the criticism for Indiana Jones, the Crystal Skull. You don't want to get to the point where people are going to go, oh, they did one game too many. That one wasn't as good. So hopefully we end on a high note if it is indeed the end. And again, I mean, I really don't know if it is or not. I've heard from some people, like, no, this will be the last one. And I'm like, wow, really? And no, it's somebody, so-and-so said it's the last one. They go, yeah, well, but you never know. No, I mean, I know how it ends. Idea. Okay. I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to give away too much. Nice try, though.
Yeah.
That's so memorable, and you may know the story, and people out there may know the story, but in Uncharted 2, during one of the voiceover sessions, I put in a line that my son, who was about 9 years old at the time, had said while we played Wii tennis. And he was 9, and we're playing tennis, and I'm not that bad. And all of a sudden, he hits the shot, and he beats me. And I was, hey, you beat me. And he went, yeah, kitty got wet. And I said, what? What did you say? And he thought he was in trouble. I said, kitty got wet. And, as an adult, I'm thinking, that sounds dirty. I don't know what it means, but that sounds dirty. Where did you hear that? And he just so innocently just said, no, I just made it up. Kitty got wet. Like, you're a cat, and cats don't like to get wet, so you're mad because you lost. And I thought, wow, I love that. So the next session, when Nathan Drake comes up and you punch someone, knock them out, or you do the uppercut and the guy flies back, we always had to record lines for that. So, you'd make that noise. You go, take that. Or, yeah, go to sleep. And on one of them, I went, kitty got wet. And everybody's head popped up in the booth. They looked, they go, what? And everyone laughed. And said that, and all the adults in there, they're like, what does that mean? That sounds dirty. But it's not. It's just, he lost. I knocked him out. He lost the fight. Kitty got wet. And it came from a 9-year-old, innocent little 9-year-old, my son. And, and when I said it, they put it in the game. Little every now and then. You won't hear it all the time, but every now and then you'll hear it. And go online. You can buy T-shirts that say "Kitty got wet." It be bumper stickers. I mean, it became this ridiculous thing, all from this innocent little 9-year-old. So that, yeah, and I get that. I get no, and oh crap, all the time. And I mean, just. But to ask me for my favorite line, it's probably that, because it was from such an innocent place. And don't ask me my favorite moment, because I have 10 years of collective favorite moments. The whole thing has become so special to me that most of my favorite moments aren't in the game. It's the relationships and the friendships and all the laughs we had between the takes. Unfortunately, that you guys will never get to see, but I got them up here. Maybe I'll write a book one day. It'll be rated R.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You get off on all this. Cheating death.
But that's not how it will end. This is how it will end.
Sorry.
Sully! We don't get to choose how we start in this life.
Had to try.
Real greatness. It's what you do with the hand you're dealt.